While paper claims concerning human psychology, psychopathy may not be a mental disorder but something else. For more than half a century, the kinds of antisocial personality traits and disorders we think of as psychopathic, such as a lack of remorse or aggression and disregard for the well-being of others, have been associated with types of mental illnesses. The line between broken and useful traits can be hazy in biology, leaving open the possibility that what is now considered a malfunction might once have been promoted by natural selection. We might find it tricky to think of evolution benefiting antisocial people, but nature has no problem leaving room for the occasional freeloader within otherwise cooperative species like our own. Those alternative traits that make psychopaths so despised could feasibly give them an edge in a world where competition for resources is intense. A team of Canadian researchers explored this possibility in a study published last year in the journal Evolutionary Psychology, arguing psychopathy lacks certain hallmarks of a disorder, so should be considered more like a function operating as intended. Their conclusion is based on the analysis of existing research containing validated measures of psychopathy together with details on the person's handedness. However, this correlation echoes outdated science from the early days of criminal psychology. Historically, links between left-handed and a sinister personality were all but given. Early models of mental illness and sociability regarded handedness as a convenient sign of an individual's degeneracy. Science no longer regards left-handed folk as ill-fated criminals, though the question of how handedness might pair with a litany of other psychological and physiological traits remains a common one in research. Central to all is the age-old question of nature versus nurture. Genetics does not appear to play a role in handedness, if a rather complicated one. Cultural influences may also derive how much a person favors one hand over the other, allowing them to fit into communities that favor the right-handed. There are also a vast mix of environmental nudges, such as stress or nutrition, or exposure to pollution while in the womb, that can push a person's genetic heritage for handedness into one direction or the other. Since the researchers in this study found no clear evidence that psychopathy subjects were less likely to be right-handed, it might be assumed that their development has not necessarily been affected by their environment to any significant extent. This leaves open the possibility that wherever genes are at work are operating as evolution elected, providing, as the researchers described it, an alternative life history strategy for those who inherited them. There are plenty of reasons to hold judgment one way or another on the entire debate. Specific to the study, just 16 studies ultimately informed the conclusion, combined data or just under 2,000 individuals, making it statistically weak. Sample sizes aside, it's hard to limit variables in studies like these, making it impossible to exclude the possibility of confounding conditions muddying the waters. Beyond all of this, there's more philosophical question over what makes differences in our form and function a disease in the first place. While whole books are written, one by the author of this article, over the changing definition of health and illnesses, psychopathy cannot at once be unwanted under the set of circumstances and prized in others without invoking models of disease. It can be both an alternative strategy to survival, helping in some social contexts before becoming a disorder in another. Like so many things in biology, disease is a convenient box we try to wrestle a complicated system into. Psychopathy's more clinical twin, antisocial personality disorder, or APD, was officially given a place in the second edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders in 1968. Even after a number of revisions, APD remains in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, DSM, adjusted over time with criteria that can be observed and checked more objectively. So whether we'll continue to regard psychopathy as a disorder in the future will depend on the variety of considerations, not least the results of studies like this one. No matter how we regard disorders like APD, psychopathy can play a role in behaviors that disrupt and destroy the well-being of many. And knowing more about it, how it works, and how to help those with it is an answer we could benefit from. This was published in Evolutionary Psychology. It's on Science Alert by Mike McCrae. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.